Florida airport yesterday. An incident on board a United Airlines flight resulted in 9 foreign-born people being removed from the airplane and left several passengers shaken. In fact, several thought the incident was serious enough that they asked to be booked onto another flight. This morning, part 3 of Fight for Your Life, an experiment in self-defense on an airplane. In parts 1 and 2 of Fight for Your Life, an experiment in self-defense on an airplane, we learn what is suspicious behavior in an airport, self-defense on the airplane when you're the hostage and when someone else is the target. Now, for the third scenario.
Where are you going?
I was just
sit down, sit.
No. How many times did I just get stabbed?
So the knife is coming in overhead. She punches, pushes the hand down along the side, and immediately starts counter-striking. Kicks, knees, everything is in one spot. She'll bring the weapon in front and drive it down.
Oh, that's it.
Well, you're exactly right, because I'm going to take the fingers and I'm going to basically reach around to touch.
Oh.
So I reach it down.
Yep, that works.
You feel your fingers kind of start to open up just a little bit?
Yes.
So I can peel in and remove the knife at that point.
Give it. Now for the test.
Where you going?
I'm just going on my seat.
Where you going?
In scenario 4, the immediate threat is in the aisle. I hardly knew where to start. It's such a small space.
Did you ever catch a baseball, a grounder?
Yes.
Okay, hands out in front, elbows in, right? That's the basic premise for the defense. If they're walking by and I'm making the defense, I'm coming up and I'm grabbing the wrist and the barrel and bringing my elbows in and I'm driving back towards them. And then I'm hitting them with the weapon, driving them into the seat.
Keep going, keep going. Okay. And for the final exam, I learned self-defense in a small space like an airplane is not only moves, but also mentality.
Well, you know, everybody has to make their own decision. You know, you have a choice to sit and watch, or you have a choice to fight. And if you choose to fight, you need to do it 100%, and you need to do it effectively.
Knowing that we can work together and accomplish the goal, getting that terrorist or somebody else down and out of the way.
It's all a matter of safety, of trying to get that person down, you know, because you don't want them to get to the cockpit.
The days of just hoping that somebody will intervene are over, especially after 9/11.
If there's an incident occurring in the front of the plane, is there a possibility that there are 2 or 3 other individuals on board and something's going to occur in the rear of the plane, or someone's going to try to rush the cockpit or something along those lines? So you really have to be aware of everything that's going on in that entire fuselage.
You're observing for a 3rd or 4th or 5th, even 6th terrorist.
Doing self-defense for the purpose of preventing bodily harm or death to you or others, then it's appropriate for you to take some type of action to defend yourself and neutralize that threat.
In a situation like that, the expectation is not that the pilots are going to leave the cockpit and resolve some sort of situation. That's not really their job.
Even if they're armed.
Even if they're armed. Their job is to keep that aircraft flying and get it landed safely. That's their job, and that's what they're thinking. They have to rely on, if there's air marshals on board, then that's going to be the #1 threat mitigator. But if there's not and there's no one else armed on board, then it's going to be up to the passengers.
Nobody get out of your seat.
All right, that's a wrap. Guys, you want to know why I wanted to do these stories?
Why's that?
Because I want terrorists to be scared of soccer moms. I want terrorists to be scared of us. Do you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because we have options. We have options. Oh, I've been getting lots of tweets, people asking me about firearms in airplanes if they're in the air, if a firearm is discharged, you know, if there's a marshal, you know, an air marshal on board or whatever. The pilot, that's a myth. The pilots will likely, very likely, highly likely be able to land an airplane if a firearm has been discharged, if there's like a hole in the fuselage and such. Do you guys have any questions?
That was good stuff.
No, I do have a question. So basically, after watching that, because I know that you had brought this point up yesterday, are we supposed to do something then? Do something. Don't just sit there.
Perfect question. Right on. You know, it's totally up to you. And so the whole message with this, what I learned in producing these stories, is that you have choices. You don't have to. You don't have to do anything. You can just sit right there. You can stay right there, not do a thing. But if you do something, you do make a choice to do something, to do it 100%, the mentality is important, and to just to go for it. You have choices.
But do they want us to do something? As TSA, do FBI, do they want us to do something if we were in that situation, or are we better off just sitting?
Well, and like Keith Slaughter said in here in part 3, if there's no federal marshals on board, if the pilots, some of the pilots do fly armed, and a lot of them do actually, and if no one is standing up and saying, I'm a federal marshal, I'm I'm an air marshal or an FBI agent or something along those lines, he said it's up to the passengers on board. And I will tell you this, my dad is an airline pilot. Do you guys know this? My dad flies for the airlines. I won't say if he flies armed or not. That's a different story. My dad told me in a phone conversation, he goes, you know, Chrissy, the biggest army that I have is right behind me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. The training is key, obviously, because we don't want to encourage people randomly thinking I can just get up and do this. It takes a lot of training that you learn. You showed your mistakes, and then you showed after learning the self-defense how you can do it properly. So, okay, still to come on this Wednesday morning, how do Californians rank among the most taxed workers in the whole country?
Plus, the daughter